guys, it's Anissa. Welcome back to my channel. I know that you're probably sitting there asking yourself, okay, Anissa, why do you look the way that you do? Why do you not have a full face of makeup on? Simply, you're gonna have to watch the whole video to find out why. In today's video, I went ahead and reviewed the new Smashbox Studio Full Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. If you want to see my thoughts on this foundation, please make sure to keep on watching. But before we go any further, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I post on this channel every 4 days, so you never have to miss me for too long. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. And I already did my eyeshadow and my eyebrows, and I'm just going to use the same eye product for the whole review. Those will be put down in the description box if you guys are interested. For today's primer, I'm going to be using this e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, and I wanted to use a primer that was not mattifying because the foundation we're testing is mattifying. See how this powder does on its own without the help of a lot of other products. I wanted to use a primer that didn't have the same claims as the foundation. That way we can see if my face is matte, truly the foundation. Just a little reminder, the video before this, I am doing a giveaway right now. I'm giving away 4 $50 Ulta gift cards, so go check out that video to see how you can be entered to win those. I'm still on a little bit of a struggle bus with my skin, but it's doing better than what it was. I have a lot of redness right now. I have a lot of marks on my face, so we're gonna try to pull it together today. When I test new foundations, I don't like to use color corrector, bronzer, or anything like that. I just like to see how much the foundation can cover on its own. For today's video, I'm going to be trying this Smashbox Weightless Feel and Oil and Shine Control Full Coverage Foundation. This is in the color 4.25. So this is what the tube looks like, and this is what the match looks like. When I first bought this, I had the color above it and it was way too light. So I went ahead and went a shade darker, but now I'm wondering if it's too dark. Drugstore foundations, I don't mind so much if I have to buy two because you're not breaking the bank, but especially when you have higher end foundations, I feel like they definitely should have a good shade range. That way you don't have to buy two foundations to mix because that can be very expensive. This retails for $38. It claims to be able to last for 24 hours. I will not be wearing this makeup for 24 hours. If you have a job that requires you to wear makeup for 24 hours, you're a queen. Claims to be comfortable, full coverage for 24 hours, weightless, and it also claims to have a matte finish with a blurring effect. It's supposed to be sweat and humidity resistant, controls oil and shine, and won't look cakey or cause acne. 39 shades. I'll show you guys, like when you get to the darker shades, it hops so much. And the range kind of even lacks for like lighter skin tones. It really focuses though on like the middle part of the spectrum. Shade range, we could definitely use some help on. I do want to go ahead and correct myself because I said that I had the shade lighter than this, but I did not have the shade right under this because it was not the same undertone. So whatever shade is down from 4.25, like when you get lighter and has a warm undertone, that's the one that I had, and it was just way too light. If anything, if it is a little bit too dark, I can always fix that with concealer and powder and call it a day. I just wanted to use a translucent powder today just to see how long the makeup will last on my skin on its own. So if there's color on the mask, it's from the foundation, not a translucent powder, obviously. I do like the packaging, it's very convenient. So we're gonna see just how full coverage this is. When we test foundations on this channel, we always do half sponge, half brush. So I'm just gonna start with my sponge side. I'm just gonna dot it on my face. My face is a lot lighter than my neck and my chest. Sometimes it looks a little crazy going on my face, but the undertone doesn't seem to be bad, but sometimes it just looks a little crazy going on because my face usually tends to be so much lighter than my neck. If you guys are the same way, let me know. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, well that's definitely full coverage, and I don't even think that I use that much. The consistency is thicker, which sometimes scares me because sometimes foundations that are like that are a little bit harder to blend out. This reminds me a lot of the Juvia's Place because I say this all the time when trying to describe the Juvia's Place. It's full coverage and it does have that matte finish, but sometimes when you are using foundation, you have to let it sit a little bit for it to get matte. The Juvia's Place is not like that, and neither is this. I mean, pretty much as soon as you blend it out, it's gonna have the matte finish. But also, the formula is reminding me of a liquid to powder type of thing because now that I'm like trying to blend it out, it's not blending, it's not going anywhere. So I always work in sections. I never put foundation all over my face and then blend it out. I usually do half and half. It definitely looks like it dried down to like a powder almost. And I found that a lot of matte foundations do that. It's a little bit darker, but it's not awful. I think once I put concealer underneath my eyes, it'll do really good. But it does look good on the skin, especially with how much texture I have right now. I use a little bit less on the brush side because when you are using a brush, you will usually get a lot more coverage than you would with a sponge. So I always use a little bit less. You blend that out, all of your problems are gone. You can see where I dotted the product on my face. It kind of tended to stay right there because I blended out this part of my face first. For concealer, I'm going to be using one of my favorites. This is also a lighter concealer that I have. This is the Morphe Fluidity Concealer in the color C3.55. Have you guys tried that technique where you put it right here and then right here? I feel like I've been so heavy-handed for so long that I like refuse to do it that way because I like using this much product. But if you guys have tried it, let me know. Hopefully this kind of will help balance everything out. See, it just gives you like an instant facelift. Oh, we love. I'm so lazy when it comes to like returning shades and getting new shades. I just usually make it work. I don't know why, but if you guys are like that, let me know. I would just rather make it work than have to like go through the trouble of going back to the store and exchanging it, especially because I don't have a Sephora by me. My Sephora is an hour away from me, and then when you try to return it online, it takes like a month. Hold on, I just turned my face and I did, you guys watch, I blend out this part of my face. I don't know if it's oxidizing or what, but look, it's two different, I'm trying to see, it's two different colors, like right down here on my jawline, then on my cheek. Do you guys see that? And I didn't put bronzer on, so I know it's not my bronzer. And it kind of did it over here too. Oh my gosh, this is oxidizing. And my forehead looks kind of splotchy. I'm just gonna use the CIATÉ London Coconut Translucent Powder all over. Maybe I should have stuck with that lighter shade if it oxidizes this much. It says that it's not supposed to make your acne look worse. Look. On my cheeks right here, and even on my forehead in certain places, it looks like it has a cooler undertone because it's oxidized. I'm gonna see if I can make myself look somewhat decent by finishing my face, and then I will be back. Hi. Okay, can I be honest with you guys? My expectations were a lot higher for this foundation because I've heard a lot of good things about it, but we are not off to a good start. My foundation looks so splotchy. It looks like I have foundation on certain parts of my face and then I don't have foundation on other parts of my face. Remember that foundation claimed to have a warm undertone to it. It looks really muddy, like right in there. That looks so muddy. My mustache, like my cheeks, these parts, the temples of my forehead. I don't know why, it just did it in certain parts of my face. I don't know if it's because of the primer that I used. I don't know if it's just clinging to certain parts of my face. Usually when I do a really bright under eye, it doesn't look like there's a like divide between my concealer and my foundation, but you can clearly tell where I put concealer to make my face look more brightened. It's not something that looks like really natural and ombre, which it usually does. I don't ever have a problem with that. This is starting at like a 6 out of 10. It looked really good when I first applied it. Some things, when you give them time, they will show you your true colors, and that's exactly what happened today. So right now it's 10:58. I started filming at like 10:30. My acne looks so awful. It looks like I've been wearing this makeup for 6 or 7 hours. I say this over and over. I do not expect a foundation to make my acne disappear, but I do expect it to not accentuate my texture, especially from the beginning. So like, you know, if it's like 8 or 9 hours, obviously the makeup is gonna like sink into your skin and start working with those oils and mixing, and then it's gonna start breaking down. And that's when your cheeks are gonna kind of start to look like this after 9 or 10 hours. I look a mess. I will see you guys when I'm ready to take it off, and then I'll show you guys my pictures and everything, and we'll see if this gets any worse. But I will say the one claim that it does live up to is the mattifying part. So I'll give it like a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10 for that. I will see you guys in a little bit. Hi, good morning. It is a completely new day. So pretty much day one was filmed on Saturday, and I had a very chaotic, hectic day, but I did take pictures until about 4. I wore the makeup till like 8 or 9 p.m., but I ended up crying it off. We're not gonna get into it because I'm bigger, I'm better, I'm great, and I don't wanna go there again. I'll show you guys the pictures that I do have before we start doing makeup today, and I'm actually gonna do my makeup a little bit differently today in hopes that it turns out better than it did 2 days ago. I showed you guys from the get-go, it was very textured looking. It kind of looked like I had worn my makeup for 6 or 7 hours already, except it was matte. So it looked like it had been worn a lot. I was not a fan. It oxidized. I had a lot of makeup on my mask. Waterproof, we actually tested that by me crying. It's not waterproof. I could see the lines on my face after I cried. Just not good. I am really not a big fan of her right now. From the application process, It was dark, but it looked darker, like on certain parts of my face after I applied it. It hung on really weird. This is kind of my ideology for today. It's already darker than me, so whenever I do my eyebrows and my eyes first, it's really hard for me to get into like the crevices, get really close to my eyebrows. And my boyfriend even said something. He was like, why do your eyebrows look so light? That's the one disadvantage to doing your eyes first when you don't have a good match for a foundation, which you guys can see my eyebrows are naturally lighter on top anyways. I think most people's are. Today is a new day, so we're gonna go ahead and give it another try. For today's primer, I'm going to be using this NYX pore filler. This is one of my faves. Today we're also going to test if it's waterproof because I'm getting my hair done like around here. We're gonna see if it starts to fade or anything. I'm just gonna go straight in with this foundation. I'm gonna do half beauty sponge, half brush. Also today too, instead of doing half of my face, I'm gonna do a fourth of my face at a time, because when I put it on yesterday, it was so hard to work with. It's very fast drying, which I usually only find that foundations are really fast drying when they are on the thinner side. It really does have a nice full coverage. When it came to my bumps and stuff, I couldn't see the redness on them. I could just see the texture. I'm gonna go ahead and see if this is buildable, and that's why I didn't want to start with a whole bunch. And today, I'm actually gonna be wearing it for closer to like 12 hours if my day goes as planned. My arm is actually sore because I'm trying to blend this out so fast. Well, that was buildable. It's darker than me, but nowhere near as dark as it was yesterday, and it's already starting to do that same thing right in here. I can see it. I don't know if it's getting darker where I have like scarring and stuff or what. It's not all one color, which is so weird. Initially, I think I used about the same amount to start with on both sides, and I do think that this side gave me a little bit more coverage. I'm pretty thorough about blending out my foundation, but I'm really making sure to get into like every single crack and crevice because of how this foundation was the other day. I just looked like I was 50 shades of brown, but I really do like the finish. It's matte, but it's not like super drying matte. It is pretty lightweight feeling. It's not super heavy feeling on the face. I did notice that from wearing it the other day. I'm glad that I did both again today because usually I tend to lean on the brush side, but I think just for this foundation, I like a brush more because I don't have to work so hard to get it blended into the skin, which is so weird. It is looking a little bit splotchy still, so I'm gonna put like one more layer on. When I put foundation on, everything looks blank because you have like a canvas. There's no color variation unless you put like bronzer underneath, versus with this there is. So like it's full coverage, but it's like it is different colors in different parts of my face. I really hope that makes sense. A little bit more raw, but oh, like this looks not good. Ooh, I didn't even realize that. But yeah, you guys see up here, it's the variation in color. I just look very textured. I realize that this is darker, but there's not even a color that would match me unless I mixed this with that lighter color that I had first, which if you guys watch my Sephora haul, that's the original color that I had, whatever was in there. I would have to mix those two, and I'm not paying $70 for something to perform like this. My pores around my nose don't look awful. Right here is a different color. And I have nothing on, so I don't know what this is doing. I have not had a foundation that horribly oxidizes in a really long time. For concealer today, I'm just going to be using one of my favorites, the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer in the color Butterscotch. And this is gonna be like the true ultimate test to see how this works with the foundation, because this concealer is amazing. My face feels really lightweight, so I will say it does hold up to that lightweight claim, but I'm not seeing it hold up to anything else. From far away, this side of the face looks very pretty. We're gonna see what is happening up close after I blend this side out. Now that I have a brighter under eye, the variation in color on my face doesn't look so apparent. Okay, that just made the world of a difference. I don't know why. I can tell that they're still dark, but it's not as noticeable because I have a really bright under eye now. You guys saw how I had to apply this. Like, I was being very rough with it in order to get it to blend out, and I mean, I had to like completely change my makeup routine for this foundation. This is the ultimate test today because we are going to be using this Hailey's Beauty Retouch Perfecting Powder Loose Setting Powder. This is one of the most CoverGirl friendly powders I have ever used. It is so good. If you can get your hands on it, you need to. I wish that they would start selling it in like Ulta or Target or somewhere because this stuff is so amazing. It's not gonna give you any flashback. Soak into your skin and just set whatever you have there. And again, I'm using a translucent powder because I don't want to give this foundation any help as far as coverage goes. I know it will kind of help with the setting part, but I know how this powder performs. If it is a flop today, it's not the powder. Although the concealer did help the way my overall face looks, I can still tell, like even on my forehead, there's just this patch right here that does not want to take the makeup, or even on my nose. And you guys saw I did a very good job of blending all over my face. Oh my gosh. This is exposing me to the max. But anyways, like look at this patch on my nose. And even my forehead, it's more prominent on this camera. Okay, I wanna see what this looks like with flash. Do I really want to though? Am I gonna do this to myself? It doesn't look half bad with flash, but you can definitely see my mustache. We love. I am gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face off camera and then we'll be back and talk. Okay, I went ahead and did a little bit of eyeshadow. I don't even know if you can tell. It's like a really pretty reflective pink yellow color. Here's the conclusion that I've come to. I have a mirror about 2 feet away from me. Looks great from afar. As soon as I take this mirror, it's a different story. If my makeup is looking questionable, when I put setting spray on it, specifically this NYX Bear With Me, so good. It will help everything melt together. But I wish I would have filmed this because like I sprayed the setting spray on top of my face and it just kind of sat there. Like you could see the little water droplets sitting there, and I had to use, I always use my fan anyways, but after using my fan, it just looked weird. Like it didn't look like everything melted together. It looked like I had put water on top of everything and the water just kind of tried to maneuver around everything. It's great that it looks good from afar, but this means that you could only wear this if you are going somewhere that you are gonna be pretty far away from people, like a good 2, which you should be anyways because of social distancing. You can't even take pictures with this. I'm not a fan right now. It's just not holding up to any of the claims except for lightweight and full coverage for me. It's very unpredictable, which scares me to the max. Right now it is 6:30. I started filming at 6. This is what we're working with right now. I will see you guys in a little bit. Guys, if you can believe it or not, it is the same day. I know. When I get my hair straightened, I feel like an entirely new person. I got my hair done at 10 o'clock. And the first thing she did was wash it. So this picture was actually taken at 12:50, but I had only had the makeup on for 4 hours when I got my hair done. As soon as I looked in the mirror, you guys can see all around my hairline where she washed my hair. It completely rubbed off. It's so noticeable because of how much darker the foundation is than me. Also, I wanted to zoom in, sorry for yelling. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I wanted to make sure to take a picture of it as soon as I noticed it. On the right side of my cheek, there is a like very, very dark spot where the makeup clumped together and did something really, really weird. You guys look right here. Makeup's gone. Next picture I took was at 2 o'clock. This was 7 hours into the wear, and it looks like I've been wearing this makeup for 12. My shine probably started to peek through at, I would say, like hour 5-ish. It does feel very lightweight except for around my nose. Nose area feels so heavy. And it's funny because I will show you guys this next picture. I have like no makeup left on my nose at all. But you guys can see I just look like a hot, oily mess. My skin looks a million different colors. It looks like my makeup looks darker right here and then completely rubbed off on this side of my face. You guys can see there's no makeup left right down here. I was thinking and I was like, okay, well, what if it was my color? Would I like it if it was my color? And I don't think that I would, because I'm pretty positive when you find a formula foundation that oxidizes, it's not usually just gonna be one shade that oxidizes. Pretty much you can guarantee that all the shades are gonna be that way. They don't have my shade without me mixing. So this is not something that I would go out of my way to make work. I have foundations like that I do go out of my way to make work. I want you guys to realize that I don't not like it specifically because it's not my color, because I have foundations that I love that are not my specific color, and I mix them, I put on lighter powder, lighter concealer, whatever to make it work. So it's simply purely about formula here. This is not long lasting at all. It hasn't even been 12 hours yet and it claims to last for 24. So to me, that's like a no. My texture looks awful, my nose looks awful. My mustache is never accentuated with any makeup that I wear. My mustache looks awful. We're gonna test it for one more day tomorrow, see how it does. We are on our last and final day. I would be lying if I told you I was not excited to get this over with. For a primer today, I'm just going to be using the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip, one of my faves. I just, at this point, am tired of walking around and looking crazy. I was really tempted to mix today, but you know what? we're just gonna go full send and let this thing hang out on its own. Today I wanted to test it out with a brush, you know, just to say that I tested it for 3 days. We're gonna test it for another day. It amazes me how this really is not that dark going on, but as the day goes on, it just gets darker and darker and darker. The one claim that I do think it holds up to is the full coverage, but it doesn't stay full coverage all day because it just wears off. It is easier blending it into the skin with a brush. It really makes me so sad because I really wanted to like this. And I'm really making sure to get into my like nooks and crannies because I have learned very quickly that this foundation will expose my blending skills. I can see all of my texture. When I test out products like this, it makes me so grateful to have products that I like. I'm like, you know what? Products that I like, you really come through. You can tell from my cheeks to my forehead because I did my cheeks first. My cheeks are way darker than my forehead is. Well, my forehead's starting to turn dark, but this is just every time I put this stuff on, I hate it even more. You're on crack if you're not gonna tell me that this did not just oxidize 20 shades. This foundation is not good for my mental health. I'm really sitting here contemplating if I even want to keep going or if I should just stop here. My goodness, this is bad. This is really bad. This is really, really, really bad. We're gonna pull out some extreme measures. I'm gonna take like a much lighter powder than what I am and hope that that will do something. This may completely go awful. This is what I usually put underneath my eyes. I do not want to walk around looking like a burnt piece of chicken. You know what? This is not okay. Nobody should have to walk around like this. This is not okay. We're just gonna call it here. I mean, like, that's how you know it's bad. I know I said literally 2 seconds ago that I was gonna wear it for a 3rd day, but this is literally getting so dark. Like, it is oxidizing worse today than it has any other day. I'm gonna put a clip of what it looked like when I first put it on versus what it looks like now. Final thoughts, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. I think that for the price, this is a goner. The claim that it holds up to slightly is the fact that it says it's full coverage, but throughout the day, it just gets really bad. It's not mattifying, it's not waterproof. I don't know if it's sweatproof. I don't wanna know if it's sweatproof, but I'm gonna guess because it's not waterproof that it's not sweatproof. The shade range on this is awful. I think too, when foundations oxidize, it makes it 20 times harder to find your shade because what foundation is gonna be like, oh yeah, by the way, this oxidizes. Like, the only way that you'll know that is if you're buying it in the store and somebody who's already tried it knows that. It's very fast drying. You have to work in sections. I will say it did do a little bit better today, but even with other products, like I have used all 3 of my favorite concealers and it just refuses to blend in with them. That's it. If you guys wanna see some other reviews, I promise there are products that I've reviewed that I love. Go check out my reviews playlist. I will link it right up here for you guys. I hope this video was helpful to you. I can't go on. You know, when you've had enough, that's me right now. If there's a specific foundation or product that you would like to see me review specifically, then let me know. I just got a request for the Urban Decay full coverage, so that'll be coming up in a couple of videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.